What is up, Heat 'em Up gangs? Your boy Heat 'em Up Tron back with another video. Now, we are going to get into Emori Jones, quarterback from Florida. They're saying he could be the best Florida quarterback ever. Now, I'm not going to really put big emphasis as far as best quarterback. I'm speaking strictly college football. Because as far as outside of college, majority of these quarterbacks that's probably on this list, I've never heard of in the NFL. Tim Tebow, we know his story. He's at tight end now. Rex Grossman, what did you do? You didn't really win that. You didn't really get their team to the Super Bowl. The defense did. The running game did. We all know that. Who else? And a lot of these other people, they were just before my time to really break down something. But I mean, it all said, when I do my research right now, they pretty much all say they were great college quarterbacks. Like, they were great college quarterbacks. Especially Danny, what's his name? Danny Werfield. Because he was the first and only player to win the Heisman while being coached by a former Heisman winner. And he won 9 postseason awards and an SEC championship and a national championship. So, I mean, that's him and Tim Tebow is pretty much, I want to say, is the only two main names out of all these lists. Rex Grossman, like I said, you're not really a name to me. I'm sorry. But let's get right into it.
Great quarterbacks over the years, and they've had multiple first-team All-Americans. Guys like Steve Spurrier.
Kyle Trask was a starter, so it's exciting for me to see what he's going to do.
Werfel, John Reeves, and Tim Tebow were all spectacular players, but ever since then, they've been kind of looking for that next great star. Kyle Trask was great, Jeff Driscoll showed some flash, and Will Greer was great in his limited time, but the Gators have been waiting for that next quarterback to completely take over the program, polarize the college football world, and become a household name. Now that Trask is with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Gators have a new starting quarterback going into 2021, and it has been a long wait for him to see the field. Gators fans are so excited to finally unleash him. He was a huge recruit coming out of high school and has all the tools and talent to potentially be that next great quarterback. In today's video, I'm going to introduce you to the future of Florida football, talk about his crazy story, and just how good he can be next year and throughout his career. So without further ado, let's get started. You're probably wondering who the subject of today's video is, and it is none other than Emori Jones. At one point, he was a 5-star recruit who was committed to play for Ohio State, but he'd have a pretty crazy recruiting story and would ultimately flip to Florida. Emori is projected to be a dark horse Heisman contender, and some mock drafts have him as a first-round pick. But before we can talk about that, let's meet Emori Jones and see how he became a star to begin with. Emori Jones was an athlete from the day he was born, and by the time he was in middle school, he was kind of seen as a prodigy. He had the physical image, a quarterback's coach, and was ahead of the game. He worked with the same guy who coached Deshaun Watson and Josh Dobbs when they were in high school, and the odds are Emori was going to be the next big thing. His high school coach knew Jones was coming in with a lot of potential, but he did not know he was this far along. He said, quote, "It didn't take us long to know how special he was. Immediately the minute you saw him on the field, you knew there was something different about this kid. He already had some length to him, he was already being coached by quarterback coaches, he was just well advanced for his age." Because of that, there was a controversy at the local high school. There was a huge competition between 4 guys for that starting job, as they had an experienced senior, 2 guys who were backups the year prior, and Emori. The high school coach said, quote, "There was a senior who was a good high school football player, and nothing against him, he was really good, but he wasn't Emori Jones." So obviously, I'm alluding to the fact that Emori won the starting job, and the rest is history.
Was this freshman year? Goodness gracious, freshman year? He said no disrespect to the senior. He was a good player and all, but he just wasn't an Emori Jones. He's a freshman coming into high school. He said, "Yeah, bruh, I'm going to just take your job. No, JV. I'm going to just go straight to varsity. Take your job." And these people that thought they were going to get the job.
The quarterback who was a senior went on to play football, and the 2 others would switch positions so they could actually get on the field. Emori would struggle a little bit, as any freshman quarterback would, but he'd finally put it all together towards the end of the year, as he would lead them to the third round of the Georgia AA playoffs. After his sophomore campaign, he was offered by Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Georgia, and he really liked what Dan Mullen was promising him from the Bulldogs. At this point, he was as high as a top 3 quarterback and a borderline 5-star recruit, and his recruitment was about to blow up. His high school coach said, quote, "We feel like he is about to blow up and be the biggest recruit to come out of Heard County. There's no question when you talk about him as a dual threat, he is absolutely a true dual threat. He is special." A lot of credit has to go to some special people outside of Heard County that care for him as well, and our recruiting coordinator, Chuck Sykes. So yeah, he basically he was as high as a top 3 quarterback and a borderline 5-star recruit, and his recruitment was about to blow up. His high school coach said, quote, "We feel like he is about to blow up and be the biggest recruit to come out of Heard County. There's no question when you talk about him as a dual threat, he is absolutely a true dual threat. He is special." A lot of credit has to go to some special people outside of Heard County that care for him as well, and our recruiting coordinator, Chuck Sykes. So yeah, he basically foreshadowed that Jones was going to be one of the biggest players to ever come out of that county, and it's definitely true. From there, he would get interest from Alabama, Florida, Ohio State, Florida State, and multiple other schools, but he would decide to commit to Ohio State under Urban Meyer and become a Buckeye. He said, quote, "I'm 100% committed to Ohio State. It'd be a lot to change that, but I just think for myself, it'd be better for me to take some more visits to make sure I pick the right place." So yeah, as I obviously just alluded to, Jones was committed to Ohio State, but there were some rumors that he was going to visit other schools and that he could potentially flip. For Ohio State, it was pretty delicate, as they didn't want to yank his scholarship or get mad at him for visiting other schools, but at the same time, they didn't exactly want their elite quarterback going around. I think they might have sensed that Jones was gone, as they would eventually sign a quarterback by the name of Matthew Baldwin, who was a 4-star recruit out of the state of Texas, never saw the field for Ohio State, and had to retire after just 1 year at TCU. Because of that, the dominoes would eventually fall for Emory to flip, and he would commit to Dan Mullen at Florida, and became the first big recruit of the Mullen, Florida era. In his 4 years at Heard County High School, Jones would account for 7,250 yards and 66 touchdowns, with 48 of those coming through the air and 18 of them on the ground. Combining the fact that he had great stats with his actual athleticism made him even more enticing. He ran a 40-yard dash at 4.6 seconds and showed that he could
get some new.
Hi there, welcome to Forward. Come on in. I'm Dr. Nate Favini. I'm our medical lead here.
He could pretty much do anything he wanted to on the football field. According to 24/7 Sports, Emory was a 4-star recruit, the number 5 dual threat quarterback, and the 85th best player in the class of 2018. Going into the 2018 season, which was year 1 under Mullen.
Time out. You mean this man Emory's been sitting on the bench for how many years for Florida? How many years has he been on the bench? He's been in college since 2018. So you mean tell me it's been 3 years since we seen this man play? And you mean tell me he couldn't win the starting job? So you mean tell me he couldn't win the starting job, y'all? Like, come on now. It was Kyle Trask and Will Greer. Now, if this man comes out on some Joe Burrow and just goes crazy... A lot of
Florida fans thought that Emory could potentially play right away. Unfortunately, he'd be buried on the depth chart behind both Felipe Franks and Kyle Trask. At the time, Franks was inconsistent, and Trask was just seen as a backup. Mullen said, quote, "I think Emory's got a great future in front of him. The key is making sure we're developing him the right way and putting him in positions early in his career where he can be successful, because that gets to building the confidence." Obviously, Emory thought he could come in and play right away, but then he realized Mullen had his best interest. He needed more time to develop, and he was not going to rush God's timing. As a freshman, Emory would appear in 3 regular season games, but he really only had an impact against Idaho, as he went 12 of 16 for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. Felipe Franks was pretty inconsistent in 2018, and some called for Emory Jones to play at times, but he would patiently wait for his opportunity. Going into 2019, he was once again 3rd string, as Franks was still there, and Trask had built more momentum as a backup. Then things would take a very interesting turn. As we all know, Felipe Franks had a gruesome injury against Kentucky, and all of a sudden, Kyle Trask was thrown into the mix, after Felipe was done for the season. At that point, some would have said that Emori had a chance to start, but Kyle Trask had waited his turn and had come so far that it was his job, and as we all know, Trask did not give that up. Emori would still appear in a couple of games though, as he threw a touchdown against Towson, threw a touchdown against LSU, and had a touchdown against Florida State. His best game of the year would come against Vanderbilt though, as in only 5 carries, he would have 3 rushing touchdowns and showed the world the kind of potential he had. He would finish his sophomore year with 267 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns, and 4 rushing touchdowns. It seemed the sky...
All this man has to do is beat Bama and LSU. That's all he has to do. All he has to do, because I don't think Kyle Trask beat Bama or LSU. I don't believe. Let me look at it. Let me check myself. Let me check myself. LSU versus Florida. 2021. No, 2020. Oh, yeah. They lost. I mean, it was by a field goal, but they lost. Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. But they lost. All you do is beat Bama or Georgia or LSU. And he's in there. If he beats Bama, he's automatically in there. He's automatically going to be in there. And then if he puts on a show, he's automatically going to be in there. I'm trying to tell you this right now. He's going to be automatically in there. Just beat Bama. That's all you got to do is beat Bama. Beat Bama, and you will prove to everybody. You'll put the world on notice. You'll put the coaching staff on notice. Because it's obvious they just didn't want to go to you, bro. They put Kyle Trask in there before you. You better... Kyle Trask better be doing great in the NFL. He better be great. I mean, I know he's learning from Tom Brady now and all. But he better be great. The other guy, he just got hurt. And that's why we don't remember him no more. Jones, all you got to do is beat Bama. Or Georgia. Beat both of them. Go 10-0. Go get you a championship. And then you'll really solidify. I'm telling you right now.
Limit for Emori, but he would have to wait 1 more year. Kyle Trask proved himself at the end of the 2019 season, so there was no way he was not going to start in Week 1. Jones would appear in a couple games in 2020, and most notably had a 2-touchdown performance against Arkansas, had a touchdown against Vanderbilt, and even had 1 touchdown in their Cotton Bowl loss to Oklahoma. He finished the year with 221 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns. You may be saying, what is all the hype about? He's barely done anything in college so far, and he's already getting close to the end of his career. Well, let me just tell you, Emory Jones is a special player. Well, for starters, Pro Football Focus says Emory Jones is a top 10 pick in their way too early 2022 NFL.
And that's only because of who? Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow came onto the scene for 1 year, did great, won a natty, did his thing, was the #1 pick. That's why people are ranking these, oh my gosh, he's only going to play for 1 year, but we're still going to give him a shot type thing. That's why. Literally, Joe Burrow, you changed the dynamic of college football and quarterbacks, how they get drafted. Like, bro, you played 1 year. I mean, I guess you could say Cam Newton too, because he went to Auburn for basically 1 year. Even though he bounced around Florida, JUCO, then Auburn. But, I mean, he came to the scene 1 year basically at Auburn, took him to a natty, won. First-round pick. Joe Burrow, LSU, 1 year. Took him to the natty, won, first-round pick. If Emory Jones can just copy that, #1 pick. I'm telling you this right now. I mean, even though Spencer Rattler's in the same draft, but it's going to make a controversy. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a controversy. So that's how you got to look at it now.
Draft and his odds to win the Heisman are plus 9,500. While this does not mean anything, as there are always a ton of preseason Heisman winners, aka Adrian Martinez and Jeremy Johnson, it does mean that people are high on him, and the guys at the house in Vegas typically are well researched and know what they are talking about. Yeah. So far in his career, he's at a 64% completion percentage, has made the most of his opportunities, and has been a true dual threat on the ground. He's also had 3 years to learn in the system under Dan Mullen, has gotten advice from both Kyle Trask and Felipe Franks, and has a lot of talented weapons around him. While they do lose Kyle Pitts, Kadarius Toney, and Trayvon Grimes, there will be plenty of players who step up and Florida has an elite running back room to help him out. The best comparison that I have been seeing about Emory Jones is Dak Prescott, and if he can be as good as Dak Prescott was, we are in for a very fun year. I don't really get into scouting much on this channel, but to close out today's video, I want to leave you with a quote by Emory. This was after their Cotton Bowl loss. Quote, "I feel good about being the starter. I've been working my butt off for 3 years now, and I've been waiting my turn. I've been grinding. Jones has been waiting for a long time, has always been seen as a big-time recruit, and has all the hype in the world going into 2021. I do believe he will live up to it, make Florida football really fun to watch, could be a dark horse Heisman contender, and if he can somehow find a way to beat Alabama in September, he will go down in Gators history." What do you guys think, though? How good will Emory Jones be? Is he a Heisman contender, and is he a first-round pick going into the 2022 draft? Be sure to let me know down in the comment section. Let me know how you think Florida will do this year and what player I should take a look at next. Before you go, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and check out all my other videos on the end screen, including my video about what happened to Trayvon.
Alright, that's going to do it for the video. Emory Jones. Like I said, all you got to do is just do the Joe Burrow route. Do the Joe Burrow route, you're in there. I'm telling you right now, you're in there. But do the Joe Burrow route. Just be great. Just be great. You're literally designed to be great for that one special year. This is your one special year. Do not blow it up. Don't blow it up. I pray you don't get injured. Because I'm going to be looking at the coaches, bro, y'all had me on the bench. Could have went somewhere else. Don't blow this up. You have 1 year to show that you're great. You've been there since 2018. It is 2021, about to be 2022. We're in the 2021 season. This is your 1 year to be great. And then you go into the draft. They already got you voted as top 10. They already got you Pro Football Focus, as he said. He's got you as top 10. So all you got to do is just show up and show out. Literally. If you could do that, green light, future set, all that, boom. But that's going to do it for the video. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. Make sure y'all like, share, comment, subscribe, follow the socials above, and I'm out.